Rika, aka Gamerwife of Gamerwife.com, and I'm here with my favorites for the month of April 2016. First thing I'm going to talk about is something you've probably already noticed, and it's this lovely lipstick I'm wearing on my lips right now. It is again by Bite Beauty, my current lipstick obsession, out of Toronto, Canada, and this one is called Dragon Fruit. And I like this one because it's so bright and fun, and I thought it'd be a great color for spring and summer and kind of like pull me out of my winter doldrums, and it's doing a very good job of that. I also really like the Bite stuff because they smell super nice and fruity, and you know that most of that's because there's actual fruit in them. Alright, next thing I'm going to talk about is a fashion fave! I know I don't talk about fashion very often in these videos, but I just got a new nerdy t-shirt and I wanted to show you guys. And this is a shirt by Jordan Dene Designs, and a lot of you guys are probably familiar with her and her awesome fandom script shirts. But this is one, I don't know if y'all get the reference. Matt the Radar Technician? That mean anything to y'all? I just fell in love as soon as I saw this. On one of her Pinterest boards, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm finally gonna get one of her shirts, because this one just really spoke to me for some reason. So I got it in the tank top so that I can wear it all summer, and I know I'm gonna be getting a ton of wear out of this, which I'm really excited about. And she actually sent me a bonus shirt because the shipping took so long, which is kind of funny because I'm kind of used to shipping taking forever living in Canada. So I just thought that was super, super nice and sweet of her. So yeah, support Jordan's stuff. I'll put a link on the website when you look at all the stuff that I talked about this month to see how you can get your own awesome nerdy shirt. So the next couple things I'm going to talk about are some comic books. One is a bit of an older one, but I was determined to read it after reading some other user reviews. And while Rick and I were in the Mile End a couple weeks ago, I was like, okay, we're going to Toronto Quarterly. I'm going to find this book because if anybody's got it, they have it. And of course they did. And the book I'm talking about is In Real Life by Cory Doctorow and Jen Wang. Cory Doctorow is I believe he's the founder, pardon me, of Boing Boing. And Jen Wang is the artist on it. And it's a fabulous coming-of-age story about a young girl on the internet playing an MMO and learning about the world of gold farming. And I just thought it was such a wonderful book. It really is aimed at children. I was able to go through the whole thing in one night, but this is the kind of thing that, like, I love that it exists, and I love that I get to be the cool auntie to introduce my nieces and nephews to stuff like this, because it's, you know, it's taking a really important real-world issue as far as, like, economics and haves and have-nots, and putting it into a package that children can understand and enjoy and really get something out of, and, you know, put a new perspective on something that we all kind of take for granted in a lot of ways. And I was just blown away by the storytelling and the characterizations, and I also totally fell in love with Jen Wang's art. The color palette it's just really bright, colorful, but kind of like pastel-y at the same time, really evocative, and yeah, I cannot recommend this book highly enough. And the next thing I'm going to talk about as far as comic books is relatively newer. This is Paper Girls. This is Volume 1, and this is by Brian K. Vaughan and a few other people, but I've always been a huge fan of Brian K. Vaughan's writings, and this is a story set in the late 80s about a cadre, if you will, of young girls who work as paper girls, and they're sort of this like de facto girl gang, and there's time traveling and spaceships and sci-fi, but it's also kind of coming of age, and you know what you're getting right on, I think, the first, like, 4th page. If you go into the lead girl's room, I don't know if you can see, but there's a Monster Squad poster in her room. So if you grew up like me as a kid on movies like The Monster Squad and Goonies, but you wanted to see the girl version of that, that's this book. Again, I gobbled it up in one day. I really enjoyed so much about it, and the fact that there's an Asian American protagonist I thought was great. Yeah, again, if you like coming of age stories, if you like 80s nostalgic stuff, if you like you know, sci-fi that's kind of goofy, yeah, check it out. I've been waiting for this for a really long time. I was super excited when it was announced, and so I did wait until the trade came out to get it, but I'm so glad I did. I really, really loved it. Like I said, I just blew through it in one sitting. So if you haven't checked it out, you're curious, it gets my stamp of approval. So check it out. Okay, I've got two more entertainment favorites for you. The first one is a new podcast. As you know, I am a veritable podcast addict. And I listen to a lot of the How Stuff Works network of podcasts. So obviously How Stuff Works, Stuff Mom Never Told You, and I had also started listening somewhat recently to Stuff You Missed in History Class, which has quickly become one of my favorites. And I finally started listening to one of their science podcasts called Stuff to Blow Your Mind. And I'm totally 100% in love. Oh my goodness, it's so good. The other weird thing about it, even though I do love it, and the information that they bring in it, because it's like really, really kind of heady science stuff, or they do a lot of approaching sort of like pop culture things, but from a hard science perspective. So like, you know, talking about vampires in terms of fluid mechanics and that kind of thing. So yeah, so they have like a sister series of videos they do called Monster Science, so like for the weird monster kids like me, but who are also really into science. But I also find that the voices of the guys who do it is just like the perfect tone to help me sleep. I don't know, I don't know how this started, but I really like falling asleep to the sound of people talking. I don't know, I guess it's like my white noise. So I listen to podcasts a lot to help me fall asleep. And this one is like the best one. And luckily I can always go back and re-listen to the parts of the podcast that played while I was asleep. But yeah, it's really good, and it helps me get a good night's sleep. So stuff to blow your mind. Alright, the second entertainment favorite I wanted to talk about is a show that I watch on Netflix, and it's *Halt and Catch Fire*. I've waxed ecstatic about this before, probably about a year ago, since that's how long it seems to take between seasons, but season 2 just got added to Netflix, so I've been working my way through it, and it's just one of those shows I get so attached to the characters. I actually had to stop watching for a little while because I read ahead in the descriptions and I realized something that happens with one of the characters, and it broke my heart already knowing that that character was going to do something like that I had to like stop and like, oh, am I emotionally ready to like watch this happen and have my heart like totally broken? So I had to take a little break, but I just really enjoy it. I don't know if it's just like my nostalgia for the 80s, which seems to be in full force right now. The soundtrack by Trent Muller is so good, or at least he does the theme, but there's a lot of awesome kind of 80s inspired techno and like dark wave kind of stuff happening in it. It has some great, really different kinds of strong female characters that I really, really like. And yeah, it's just a really kind of different sort of dramedy, and I like the setting. Yeah, it's different and familiar at the same time, but mostly I'm just really involved with the characters, and the actors give such good performances that I really feel like they embody these characters, and I really invest in what happens to them. Alright, so the final favorite I want to talk about is Daiya Mac and Cheese! As some of you might know, I have a huge laundry list of food allergies, including dairy products, which means that although the actual dairy content of your traditional Kraft Dinner is probably debatable, I tend to stay away from it. But then I discovered this stuff made by Daiya, which is an amazing vegan cheese replacement product. I guess that's the best way to describe it. But it's tangy, like real cheese! And this is super creamy, and it's actually gluten-free as well. Yes, it is. There's no gluten, there's no soy, but it's totally vegan and delicious and very, very quick to prepare. It's not cheap, but it's great to have on hand as like an emergency dinner when I'm feeling too ugly to cook real food. And my favorite way to enjoy it is with a few cracks of ground pepper and some organic ketchup. I say organic just because I find it tastes more tomato-y, and it goes really, really well with the tangy cheesiness of this stuff. So yeah, so that's everything that I've been loving in April. Thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing to the channel, and as always you can find me at gamerwife.com, at gamerwifeblog on Twitter, at gamerwifeblog on Facebook, or on Instagram as Mariko_MTL. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Bye!